Hey guys, I'm Sal and I'm with my friend Mark, and we're doing a brief podcast today to hopefully shed some light on our current situation. And today, Mark and I would like to share our thoughts and experience with the topic of isolation, which is where most of us find ourselves in. So, Mark, I'm going to hand over to you. Wow, so we're in isolation, and yet we're together on a screen, yet we're in very separate parts of our county. So, how about thoughts for isolation? We spoke a little bit earlier, but we're aiming to cover maybe 5 top tips we think will be useful to consider through this period. So Mark's going to share his thoughts. I'll share some of my thoughts around these 5 topics, and we hope they're of value. So, Mark, good to see you, mate. So let's jump in, shall we, for our first and probably top tip for how to handle isolation.
Cool. Well, it's interesting how we both came up with the top one, no questions asked, and that is exercise and movement. So I know myself, when in a change situation, stressful situations, anything like that, I always fall back on doing more training, more exercise. It's almost like a physical safety net and a mental safety net for me, and it just really, really helps keep stress levels down. Helps me adapt to changes, and just keeps everything in context as well. Everything seems to be back into context when you've had a really good workout. So I know you have similar but slightly different exercise routines, but I know that
Completely agree. So so that sort of main point, movement and exercise. And of course, if you're perhaps less able, got some physical conditions, you can modify that. So it could be something more simple, such as a gentle yoga practice or Pilates practice or something like that. It could be that actually you take your bit of daily exercise, which of course the government rules allow, and you make sure you take care of the social distancing issue. But yes, taking even a walk could be the thing. But whatever it is, if you're moving your body and connecting to your body, it'll be less that we're spending time in our thinking space in our heads. So for sure, number one, movement, exercise, it's a must. It's going to keep all of us grounded and hopefully physically well, but also mentally well as we go forward. So top tip number 1, movement, exercise, added in. For our second one, Mark.
Yep, routine, keeping a routine. It's for people like yourself and I who self-employed or running our own small business that might be closed down now, or you may have to think of a completely different way to work. Still keeping that routine going, I think, has been really, really important. I know for me, was it 2 weeks, nearly 2 weeks in isolation? And I've had two very different weeks, actually. My first week was transitioning my business to being very much online. Once that was all set up, which took about a week, and getting my students used to training online. This week it's gone a lot quieter. So last week I didn't really have much choice. I was getting up in the morning, I was working, replying to emails, organising everything. This week would have been very, very easy for me to. I'm teaching twice a day, streaming classes twice a day, but between that would have been very, very easy for me to sit around, really get out of a routine, not shave my head, and just get a little bit lazy, really. But I always make myself get up in the morning, usual routine. So do a bit of studying, have coffee, have some breakfast, walk the dog, do some exercise, structuring my work throughout the day as well. So I found that that's really, really key to adapting to this changing situation, both mentally and physically. And I know that I won't get into a funk, which will be hard to get out of when we start coming out of this situation as well. So
yeah, absolutely. You're spot on from certainly the stuff I see with psychological kind of wealth and health. It's just like, make sure you got structure going on, make sure that you have a good format to the day. So as Mark was saying, getting up at a decent time, perhaps, if you're not an early riser, set the alarm just like you're going to work, take a shower, breakfast, that whole kind of process. I would add a little bit in. So I know a lot of people are working from home and maybe on a computer or some kind of technological device, so pad or whatever it is. I would add them, even be smart to put on your dress, your dress code of work. I know it sounds a bit weird, but there's something about the shaping and structure of, even like if you put on a suit or like a particular outfit, put it on, go to work. And if the kitchen table becomes your office, then make it an office space with the things you need on it. And at the end of your working day, be absolutely sure to completely clear it, because otherwise your kitchen, what boundary is it? So it's very healthy to do this environmental shift. And if you're wearing like a work attire, you can take it off at the end of the day, take a shower afterwards. And then if you're sitting, perhaps especially if you're sitting in the same room as your workroom, you'll feel like it's different because of those little triggers. So that will also add to the structure, and that will also help balance out some of the issues that we're going to find around isolation.
Yeah. One other thing on that actually is, I know evenings when you've got those Netflix kind of streaming into the next episode, you know, so alerts on social media, it's very easy to get out of your evening routine. And if your evening routine isn't good, your morning routine isn't very good. You know, sometimes I can be prone to staying up a little bit too late, as most people can. So, but I put a cap on the times that everything shuts down on my phone, on my tablet. So, you know, after certain 10 o'clock in the evening, then nothing else, nothing pops up. So that's a really good tip, I think. If you find, I don't actually have to get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll just check that message, and then suddenly you're looking at, you know, your fourth cousin twice removed Facebook feed from 4 years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. You're spot on there. I mean, I'm an early to bed, early up. You know, I'm in the bed way before 10. I don't actually watch a lot of TV. I've watched one movie in the last 2 weeks. That's all I've seen, and I watched one TV program. I mean, I don't watch TV. I don't really consume it. I've just kind of dialed out of it. I do a lot of reading, so I like reading books. But yeah, same with, again, you know, you can stay up late. But for me, I just like you, Mark, would keep an eye on the morning. What have I got to do tomorrow? Book myself in various things and just crack on with it. So important point number 2. Let's go on to what's our thought for our third useful thing to do.
Yeah, and this has been keeping me very, very busy the last couple of weeks in a really good way, and that community and making a connection between yourselves and other people. Obviously, I've got quite a large martial arts club, a lot of people to be in touch with, a lot of people to be providing classes for, and I know that they all love being part of that community, and for me, being the person that's trying to get everything organised so people have got the classes and in fact lead the community, it's worked both ways really, really well. So I know that if you can reach out to people, then you know you're really gonna reap the benefits. And it's great having the internet. Can you imagine going through this if we didn't have the internet?
I've had this conversation with quite a few people. Yeah, could you imagine?
1987 or something.
Indeed. So yes, you're right. So to add on to that, so yeah, connection is really vital, because implicit in being isolated, we're kind of on our own, or we're with a small family, maybe our own family. So if we can connect with someone outside the house, and that could be parents, it could be a wider community, it could be some friends. It could be that you just get part of a help group. You know, if you're someone who doesn't really connect with a lot of people, maybe you go out and help do something like, I don't know, pick up a prescription for a neighbor who can't get out for health reasons. So there's many ways, but if you just keep it simple, think about, how can I reach out to someone who's not in this house on a regular basis, ideally every day? That will help that sense of community and connection to other people stay present with you, and kind of take you away from feeling on your own so much. So keep it simple. It could even be just give someone a quick phone call, but every day, if you can connect, it's going to be very healthy. And one thing about the internet, of course, I wrote a piece on this saying about fundamentally the technology of our situation was often putting us away from people, that we simply weren't connecting because we're, you know, staring at a phone, staring at a screen. There's a bizarre irony now that actually our technology is actually what is connecting us. So it's kind of come full circle that looking at a screen is a good thing. So that's cool. All right, how about we step into our fourth thought of what's good to do?
Yeah, number 4 is the yin to the yang of looking at screen, and that's to get out in nature. I'm very, very lucky where I am. We've got a nice garden, and it's actually been quite nice weather since we went into lockdown for the most part. So it's been great and really, really important to spend some time outdoors. You know, lucky as well to have a dog, so a good reason to go and get my allotted walk each day. But yeah, really, really important to have that connection with the outdoors. Just brings a kind of, I find it just refreshes everything once you spend a little bit of time outside. So again, a bit like exercise and movement, just afterwards, everything is back into context, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I know lots of different people, and some people are like yourself, got a nice garden. Some people live in country. I'm in a city, so but I I echo what you're saying, Mark. With that, if you can get somehow connecting to nature, and I know some people who live in a sort of high up in a set of flats, and it's like, well, it's it's a 7th floor flat, but you can open your window. Nature is also the air, and you can just even if it's cold, you put a coat on, hat on, feel the breeze on your face. And it's very important, because if we're stuck with the box of our house and the roof and everything, it's quite small. If you can get out your head, literally outdoors, outside of that, and any kind of connection will just open the mind a little bit. It will give you a sense that there's more than just your where you live. But also, I think from a use of technology, if we're using screens and computers a lot, that yin and yang, that balancing, that moderating of the energies, the technology with the more organic thing of the earth. And fundamentally for me, one of our big problems right now, we have lots of ecological issues as well as our current crisis, and that sense of being a bit more earth connected. We're not connected from the earth, so just sensing it. And it might be, if you're into mindfulness, just looking at it could even be a little weed on the ground, just observing it, noticing it. It could be feeling the edge on your face, but that feeling that connects to outdoors is going to be very healthy.
Yeah, actually, we've got
I,
one tulip growing in our garden. It was fascinating.
wow.
Staring at the one tulip we've got.
Yeah. And in fact, it's a kind of a yogic and a mindful practice, but you can just sit and look at a piece of nature. You can look at that flower and just sit and just hold your attention on it without thought, without judgment. You don't have to name it. You just let the visual image come into your head, really concentrate on that. It's incredibly refreshing for the mind as well. So yes, I would highly recommend that as a bit of a mini meditation practice. And our final thought for dealing with isolation, Mark.
Finally, this isn't going to last forever. We need to realise the impermanence of everything, and certainly this won't go on forever. When listening to the news, thinking it could go on for a few weeks, then a few months, then a few more months potentially, but the time will pass, and just remember that everything passes, and this whole situation is impermanent. We might find a new kind of normality. We might find that things like technology and our use of technology is involved. Certainly, work in the workplace, or if businesses struggle, things might change a little bit. But we will come out of this, and we will be able to go and give our neighbours a big hug at the end of it.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The impermanence thing, which is a very Eastern idea, from a very existential, like the sort of the philosophy of that. We know that everything ends, whether it's good or bad. You could be having the best day of your life and having so much fun. Well, it will end. But even you having the worst day of your life, what's good is that will end too. And it is important, that flow of life, that impermanence, as you say, Mark, that actually, in a difficult time like a crisis, it's important to recognize that it will end. I also find psychologically, what we can do is overwhelm is too much. So I'm not even listening to news personally. I read it, so I don't have any drama of talk. I just read the facts, and I let that sink in, and I pay a lot of attention. But I don't need lots of dramatic appraisal of the news. This is very dramatic as it is, so that's how I do it. What I find, if I think about 6 months inside my own house, I'd probably go slightly bonkers. And we don't know that's a fact. So let's put that aside. What I find important with that whole overwhelmed things going on, and remember the impermanence idea, is that just come back to the present. Just deal with today. Yeah, forget tomorrow, forget next week. Just deal with today. And that might look like looking after the children, doing some work. For me, it's recalibrating how I do my business. For someone else, it's doing something challenging or easier. But be with what you're doing today will take away from that big overwhelm. And remembering in the back of it, as Mark beautifully said, it's all about, well, it will end at some point. So we trust that those 5 thoughts will be useful. If you want to share when we post this, your thoughts, and if you do anything else, that'd be great. So let us know how you get on, and we shall be podcasting again soon. So until then, stay safe.
Yeah, cheers everyone.
Cheers all.
Thanks, guys.